All right, well, here we have it. We have the radio all put back together. We've got the case all back on, and we have done a lot of work to this radio. If you've been following, I have replaced every single electrolytic capacitor, every single mylar capacitor, a handful of the dip mica capacitors, a couple of the wire wound resistors, every single carbon composition resistor other than one, and we put some new light bulbs in. And we did a ton of cleaning, lots of getting the dust and grime off, obviously, but a lot of electrical contact cleaner, like on the relays, on these the potentiometers and the switches. Lots and lots of work. And then we've got this thing aligned. And so, if you've been following along, when we first started, the receive was okay. I was just using an antenna wrapped around inside the garage, random wire. Wasn't that great of an antenna. And with that early on, receive was okay. I could pick up a few things, but it was pretty hit and miss. And I blamed the antenna mostly for that. Since finishing this project and then using an active receive loop antenna outside, I'm able to pick up a lot more stations. But as you know, if you've been following along, as we were replacing parts, receive got worse and worse and worse. And that was probably because of an alignment issues, which we've resolved. And transmission, all of my tests were typically always on the 20 meter band. And I would always leave just the plate at 20. And then I believe the loading was 3.5, just what they say in the manual. And I never dipped the plate. I never peaked the pre-select because I didn't know really what to do for any of that. But as you saw, transmission at the time, from the very beginning, was 0 watts. And then, we cleaned a relay and we got 2 watts out, or about 1 or 2 watts. And then we did some more, part replacement, more cleaning. And at the end, we were getting about 12 watts out. And then I aligned the radio and got this all pre-tuned. And as you'll see in a table that I'll put of how much power out all the bands produced, I am getting over 100 watts out now in Morse code. So we have come a long way on this radio. This radio is performing really good now for the tests that I've done. So we're going to do some demos on transmission, just seeing what the different modes sound like, and just some examples of stations that I picked up on receive. So I have learned a lot on this this project. I hope you've learned some too. I hope this was a good resource if you're restoring an FT-101. But appreciate everybody watching. Stay tuned for the demos. And 73, I will catch you in the next projects. Alright, so for our transmission tests, the way I have this set up is I'm having my watt meter connected to a dummy load, so no antenna involved here. And on the receiving side, I have my laptop with an SDR using an active receive loop, which is about 3 feet that way from that dummy load, so it should pick up. And we'll just see what upper sideband, lower sideband, Morse code, AM modes, what they sound like on the SDR. And then for getting how much power out this radio is producing, what I'll be doing is I'll just get the radio all pre-tuned like you're supposed to, get the loading set for the correct bands, and once it's all pre-tuned, I'm just going to do the max watt out, the max carrier, and use Morse code, and I'll key the mic and use my watt meter here. And this watt meter only goes up to 100 watts, so if it goes past, I don't know what it is. I'm just going to say 100 plus in that case. But I just want to see what's the max power out I can get for each band. And so let's get to doing our transmission demo. Alright, we are at Morse code, 80 meter band, just QRP power, and we're at frequency 3.55. See how it sounds. All right, this is the test for the 80-meter single sideband. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2. Test, test, test. How do I sound? All right, this is the test for the 80-meter single sideband. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2. Test, test, test. How do I sound? We are now testing the 40-meter band on single sideband. How does this sound? Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2. We are now testing the 40-meter band on single sideband. How does this sound? Testing 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2. All right, we are now testing AM mode on the 40-meter band. Testing AM. How does this sound? Test 1, 2, 3. All right, we are now testing AM mode on the 40-meter band. Testing AM. How does this sound? Test 1, 2, 3. We are now testing the 20-meter band on an upper sideband mode. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, test, test, test. We are now testing the 20-meter band on an upper sideband mode. Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3, test, test, test.
All right, here is November 15th, the AM7 Saturday Bravo Zero 057 Black. Thank you so much. And then to CK7RZO 5 Plus again from IB. This was a lot. Well, yeah, and you like what you we put in, it was kind of a pantry, and we took out the pantry shelves and put in some cabinets and put in a thing like this in the kitchen, and then I tiled the back of it, and then anyway, I've got the Heil. What I want, I have a Heil HC5 and HC4 cartridge in my other headphones. Gonna lift that.
Property about 40 or so feet off the ground, and anyway, $20, right? For the wire.
There you go, Steve. The microphone going in sounding better, I think, because his radio is limited on what he's got. Yeah, I heard it fine. It was just late on the switch, I think. AJ6 Foxtrot Charlie. Anything, Marty?
From what I know, they made so much money that they stayed open. And, but anyway, when they closed, that manager girl, she just had a flaming party. I had to leave.
I'm now a radio man. You can bet your boots he knows his stuff.